السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نويت تعلم والتعليم وتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث عن التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله والدعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه. آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد. So we're gonna continue with our dars on the kitab Risalatul Jami'ah by Habib Ahmad bin Zain al-Habshi al-Ba'alawi al-Shafi'i. We have arrived at the kitab. In fact, we have completed kitab as-salah, and we're just gonna add in Sujud Sahwu, as it's not mentioned in this kitab. And as well as we all know, Sujud Sahwu is a lengthy topic and it's quite confusing. So just gonna follow as mentioned in Kitab At-Taqrirat As-Sadidah, as it's quite concise and easy to follow. Okay. So Sujud Sahwu is, or some of us might know it as Sujud Sahwi. So Sujud Sahwu is actually prostrations of forgetfulness. Lughatan, يعني linguistic meaning is forgetfulness, النسيان. Shar'an, the technical meaning of it, that means the meaning when we say Sujud Sahwu in this chapter, we are referring to call for defect or defects that occur in the prayer, whether intentionally or absent-mindedly, intentionally or unintentionally, in the nafil prayers or the fardu prayers. Yeah. Some scholars differentiate between Sahwu and Nisyan. So Nisyan, when they say Nisyan, is the meaning is to forget something from the start. That means you need to re-memorize whatever you have memorized. And when prompted, you can recall whatever you have memorized. Whereas Sahwu is something that you forgot, but if prompted, can be recalled. So that's the difference. They differentiate between these two. The ruling, the hukum of Sujud Sahwu is actually sunnah mu'akkadah. Yeah, but it's never wajib except for one scenario. So it's actually for any fardu prayers or nafil prayers. Can be done on both, but not valid for janazah prayers and sujud tilawah or sujud syukur. And anyway, if we when we have arrived at the reasons for Sujud Sahwi, we will see that it's not applicable actually for Salatul Janazah and Sujud Tilawah or Sujud Syukur. So it's gonna only be wajib in one scenario, where when the Imam sujud for Sujud Sahwi, the ma'mum must follow. The ma'mum must follow the Imam. If not, the prayer of the ma'mum will be nullified. It will break his prayer. So the Prophet ﷺ made Sujud Sahwu in 5 instances. The first one is he had doubts in his number of cycles of prayer. That means he had doubts in his raka'ah. How many raka'ah is it? Is it 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 or 1 or 2? Yeah, and then he prayed. He continued praying, and he did Sujud Sahwu after that, before the salam. Secondly, he stood up from 2 raka'ah without the tashahud, without the first tashahud. That means it's a 4 raka'ah prayer, and he's supposed to do the first tashahud, but he stood up for the third without doing the first tashahud. Third one, he made salam after second raka'ah. That means it's supposed to be a 4 raka'ah or 3 raka'ah, and after the second raka'ah, when he's doing first tashahud, he gave salam and exited the prayer. And of course, he came back to the prayer and continued the other 2, added another 2 or 1, and Sujud Sahwi, and made Sujud Sahwi, and then gave salam and exited the prayer. Number 4, he made salam after the third rak'ah. It's the same scenario as the as number 3. And number 5, he had doubts in the 5th rak'ah. That means he's in the 4 rak'ah prayer, Zuhur Asar, and in his third rak'ah, he had doubts whether is this a third or 4th. So of course, if you have doubts, are you in the 3rd or 4th rak'ah? You have to take the least. That means you take the it's 3rd rak'ah. So you have to do 1 more to complete the 4 rak'ah. So he did 1 more, and after finish the last rak'ah, he realized that it's actually the 5th rak'ah, and he had actually added extra 1 rak'ah. So he made the Sujud Sahwu and gave salam. So all these instances where Rasulullah SAW has done Sujud Sahwu due to all these defects in the prayer is not actually is for us actually. Is to teach us, because it's impossible that Rasulullah SAW forget of is not attentive in his prayer. And there is some scholars have answered this actually, where people have asked how come Rasulullah SAW have a ghafla or not, sahwu, forgetfulness in his prayer, where he's supposed to be the best. So of course, like I said, that is to for us actually, to teach us. So Allah purposely make him forget and do the sujud sahwu to teach us how to do it and what to do when we encounter all these instances. So there is a bit actually, a poem answering this, saying that ya sa'ili an rasulillahi kaifa saha wasahwu min kulli qalbin ghaflillahi qad ghaba an kulli shay'in sirruhu fasaha amma siwallahi ta'zimu lillah. So to summarize, it's actually he's saying, oh the one who asks, how come Rasulullah SAW have forgetfulness? As forgetfulness, this only happens in the hearts of those who are heedless or inattentive. So they answered, it's not that Rasulullah SAW forget Allah, it's just that when he's in prayer, he's so engrossed with his prayer and so into his prayer and in remembrance of Allah and ta'zimullah, that he forget everything else. And it's also for tashri', to teach us how to do sujud sahwu and when to do, what to do, how to do it. Yeah. And of course, for the Anbiya and Rasul, they are human beings, so it's normal. I mean, it's okay for them to encounter nisyan or sahwu, except for Allah. They never sahwu anillah. He never, like the bait say, وَقَدْ غَابَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سِرُّهُ فَسَهَا أَمَّا سِوَى اللَّهِ فَتَعْظِيمٌ لِلَّهِ. He's always in remembrance of Allah, and he forgets everything. So okay, there are 3 narrations here I've picked. Okay, the first narration is from Abu Hurairah. The Prophet ﷺ led us in the Asr or the Zuhur prayer and finished it with Taslim. Dhul Yadin said to him, O Allah's Messenger, has the prayer been reduced? That means he's supposed to pray 4. Yani Asar or Zuhur, he said, right? So it's supposed to be a 4 rak'ah prayer. Has the prayer been reduced? That means he had prayed 2 or 3. So the Prophet ﷺ asked his companions in the affirmative. Rasulullah ﷺ asked the companions, is Zulyadin saying the truth? And they affirm that he's saying the truth. So Allah Messenger ﷺ offered 2 more rak'ah. That means he stopped at 2. At the end, 2 more rak'ah, and then performed 2 prostrations of Sahwu. At the end, before giving salam, he performed 2 prostrations of Sahwu and gave salam. Sa'ad said, I saw that Urwa bin Az-Zubair had offered 2 rak'ah in the Maghrib prayer and finished it with taslim. He then talked and he was informed about it, that he had made 2 instead of 3. He completed the rest of his prayer and performed 2 prostrations, yani Sujud Sahwi, and said, the Prophet ﷺ prayed like this. That means he's referring to the first part of the hadith. So in this narration, we can see that first that Rasulullah ﷺ has stopped at 2 instead of 4. That means he stopped at the first tashahud. Then he thought he is the last, so he gave salam. But when the companions reminded him, he asked the rest, is he saying the truth? And they said yes. So he went back to the prayer. Complete 2 more, made Sujud Sahwi, and gave salam. So a point here we can get is that it's okay to have a little bit of speech, external speech, that is not meant for the prayer. External speech, a little bit of external speech in between the salam and the Sujud Sahwi. Yeah, I mean the salam, and then you can go back to your prayer. And the fasl, the timing shouldn't be too long. We will go through this in at the later part. So second narration narrated from Abu Hurairah. Once Allah's Messenger ﷺ offered 2 rak'ah and finished his prayer. Dhul Yadain asked him, has the prayer been reduced or have you forgotten? Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, has Dhul Yadain spoken the truth? The people replied in affirmative. Then Allah's Messenger ﷺ stood up and offered the remaining 2 rak'at and performed taslim, and then said takbir and performed 2 prostrations like his usual prostrations or a bit longer, and then he got up. So in this narration is actually the same, but there are a few more pointers we can learn from here. That he said the takbir. He said the takbir and performed the 2 prostrations like his usual prostrations. That means meaning to say that Sujud Sahwi should have takbir, Allahu Akbar, then you sujud. Then you get up and you sujud again. How we know it's 2? Because he said like his usual prostrations. And that means it's the same type of, the way he does the sujud is the same. Or the same or a bit longer, and then he got up. A bit longer or the same is okay. Then he got up, meaning he gave salam and he left. Narration number 3, narrated from Abdullah bin Buhaynah al-Asdi, the ally of Bani Abdul Muttalib. Allah's Messenger ﷺ stood up for the Zuhr prayer, and he should have sat after the second rak'ah, but he stood up for the third rak'ah without sitting for tashahhud. And when he finished the prayer, he performed 2 prostrations and said takbir on each prostration while sitting before ending the prayer with taslim. And the people too performed the 2 prostrations with him instead of the sitting he forgot. So down here we get more info. It's the same thing. That means Rasulullah SAW has forgotten the after the second rakat, he stood up for the third rakat without tashahud. That means he missed the first tashahud and he got up for the third. After the last rak'ah, he performed 2 prostrations with takbir on each prostration while sitting. So this is more detailed, teaching us how to do the Sujud Sahwu before ending the prayer with taslim. Before he ended the prayer, then he gave the salam and exited the prayer. And the people too performed the 2 prostrations with him instead of the sitting he forgot. That means to show that the ma'mum is following the imam. So the ma'mum, when Rasulullah SAW got up, that means when he missed the first tashahud, they also get up. They didn't sit down and do the tashahud. Instead, they followed the imam. And after that, Rasulullah SAW made the sujud sahwu. They also follow. Yeah. Okay, the place, the mahal, the place of sujud sahwu is after the last tashahud, before salam. Okay, it can be done after the salam in only one scenario with 3 conditions. Okay, this first point, after the last tashahud before salam, this is Madhab Shafi'i. We say that this is the method of sujud sahwu. In other mazhab, and there are other opinions saying that you can do after the salam. And some even differentiate what is the reason of the sujud sahwu, then you can do before or after, depending on the reason. But in Madhab Shafi'i, you cannot do after the salam, except for one scenario. And in that one scenario also, you have to meet 3 conditions. First one, the person who's going to do the sujud after the salam, sujud sahwu after the salam, he must have made the salam absent-mindedly beforehand. But actually he wanted to sujud sahwu. That means he knows he have a defect in his prayer, so he intends to make the sujud sahwu at the end of the prayer before the salam. But he absent-mindedly gave salam, like automatic. We also when we pray, we like on auto mode. You at the end of it, before the salam, you straight away give salam once you finish the azkar. But so he forgot actually. Second point is the time between the salam and sujud must not be too long. The time between the salam and sujud, that means when you have absent-mindedly made the salam and you realize that you haven't made the sujud that you have intended to make. So now you can come back to make the sujud. But it mustn't be too long. The time must be short. How long is too long? Is urfan. When they say urfan, that means it's normal. The norm is the norm. Like 5 minutes. If the norm 5 minutes is too long, that means it's too long. If the norm is 2 minutes, that means he gave salam and then he realized after a few seconds or what. Then he came back, he does the sujud and gives salam again. And that's okay. That means the time frame must be short. But they didn't specify the time frame. Instead, they say urfan. Urfan is the norm. So the third point is he did nothing to nullify his prayer in between and during the salam and sujud sahwu. That means he, in between, after the salam and before he come back to do the sujud sahwu, he mustn't have nullified his prayer, like hadath, like he broke wind, or let's say he had a meal, or he drank a cup of water. That is considered too much, or consider what is that? He speaks the external speech after the salam. He speaks for like 10 minutes or like 10 sentences. That's considered breaking the prayer. So that will not, he cannot return to do the sujud sahwu. And the sujud sahwu also will be invalid once he had decided to omit the sujud sahwu after the salam, once he realized that he had not done it. even if he had intended to do the sujud beforehand. This means it's like this. The scenario is he had intended to make the sujud sahwu. Then he forgot, and absent-mindedly he gave salam. He gave salam. Then now he realized, after the salam, he realized instantly after the salam, or 3 seconds after the salam, he realized that, hey, I forgot to make the sujud sahwu. Now, can he go back? Yes. But if he decide to omit the sujud sahwu, that means once he realized, he said, it's okay, I don't want to do. I don't want to do. That means he don't want to do. Once he have that intention, that's it. Even though he have intended to do the sujud sahwu, now once he intended not to do, he cannot go back to do it. Yeah. And in all this, in this scenario, after he come back to make the sujud sahwu, he must make salam again, because the salam was the salam he made before the sujud sahwu was actually not counted, because he did the salam absent-mindedly. So he gave salam absent-mindedly. He come back, do 2 sujud sahwu, then give salam, then exit the salah. The method of sujud sahwu is the same. It's the same as the normal sujud that we do in our prayer. 2 sujuds after the final tashahud. Must be 2 sujuds. Cannot be shortened to 1 sujud. If shortened intentionally, it will break the prayer. It will nullify the prayer. So, we can see that it's the same as the normal sujud that we do. So what do we say? If due to forgetfulness, we can say, if the sujud sahwu, because sujud sahwu can be done, it can be done if you decide to, sujud sahwu can be done due to reasons that you intentionally perform, or absent-mindedly, unintentionally, or because you don't know. So that will be covered in the later part. Due to forgetfulness, you recite the normal dhikr in prostration. So you recite Subhanallah wa bihamdi, Subhanallah wa bihamdi, Subhanallah wa bihamdi, or you can say Subhanalladzi la yashu wa la yanam. This is in case, in the event that you do the sujud sahwi due to forgetfulness. If it's done intentionally, then you recite the normal dhikr, or that means you recite the normal dhikr, and or you can do istighfar. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, Subhanallah wa bihamdi, Subhanallah wa bihamdi, astaghfirullah. Or you can combine both. So what it covers? What does sujud sahwu covers? It actually corrects or repairs the deficiencies, the defects that happen before the sujud, after the sujud, during the sujud, but not with the sujud itself. Okay, what does this mean? Okay, I will explain one by one. Before the sujud, example, he had a defect in his prayer. Example, he had omitted tashahud awal. At the end of the prayer, he sujud sahwu, because he know he had omitted tashahud awal. This covers the defect that has been made before the sujud, because he will sujud at the end. So the sujud is for the defect that has happened before the sujud. Second one, after the sujud. He made sujud sahwi due to a defect earlier. Doesn't matter intentionally or unintentionally. After the second sujud sahwu, he caused another reason to sujud sahwi. Example, during after the sujud sahwu, 1, 2, then he ate or spoke a bit absent-mindedly. He ate or spoke a bit absent-mindedly. That means his prayer is not nullified, because it's a bit and not intentionally. absent-mindedly. He forgot and he sipped a water. He just had a sip or what. So that's considered a bit. He does not have, in this instance, he does not need to do another sujud sahwu, as this will be covered by the sujud sahwu he had done. That is what they mean by the sujud sahwu will cover deficiencies or defects that are made after the sujud sahwu. The third scenario will be during the sujud. He made sujud sahwi due to a defect earlier. He made another reason, and then he made another reason. He made another reason to sujud sahwi during his sujud. Example, like he eat or speak absent-mindedly. A bit, must be a bit. If a lot, cannot. A bit. In this case, he does not need to do another sujud sahwi. The sujud sahwi he's doing will cover deficiencies that are made during the sujud sahwi. That means during his sujud, first sujud, then he get up and sit right. And while he's sitting, he drank a bit. He spoke, like when he sujud, one sujud, then he get up, julus baina sajdatain, the interval, the sitting between the two sujud. Someone called him, Ya Fulan, then he said, Naam. Then he remembered, he realized that he's in prayer. Then he sujud again. So all he said was Naam. So that's considered what is that? Speech that is a bit. So in this case, he does not need to do another sujud sahwi. The fourth scenario is the sujud itself. This is what the sujud sahwi will not cover. Sujud itself means he had made a sujud sahwi after assuming that he had a reason to do so. That means he thought he skipped the first tashahud, for example. He later realized after the sujud sahwi, so he did the sujud sahwi, and after the sujud sahwi, he realized that he actually did not skip the first tashahud. He actually did the first tashahud. So in this case, the sujud sahwi is actually invalid and is not supposed to be done. So in this case, it's sunnah for him to make another sujud sahwi to correct the mistake of making the sujud sahwi that he actually mustn't do. That is what meant by the sujud does not cover the sujud sahwi doesn't cover itself. Only sujud sahwi consists of two prostrations, even for multiple reasons. Even except that means if he does multiple, he skipped the first tashahud and he skipped kunut and he skipped a few other stuff that calls for sujud sahwi. He just need to do two prostrations. That means one set of sujud sahwi, and he cannot do more than that, except for the scenario in number 4. This scenario, he must repeat the sujud. It's sunnah for him to repeat the sujud itself because it doesn't cover. So that's it for this dars. We will cover the next lesson. We will cover the asbab of sujud sahwi. There are a few. We will cover that inshallah. So, wallahu alam. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them inshallah. اللهم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا ربي علمنا الذي ينفعنا ربي فقهنا وفقه أهلنا وقرابة لنا في ديننا وأهل القدر أنت وذكر ربي وفقنا وفقهم لما ترضي قولا وفعلا كرما وارزق الكل حلالا دائما وأخلا أتقياء علماء نحظى بالخير ونكفى كل شر ربنا أصلح لنا كل شؤون وأقر بالرضا منك العيون واقض عنا ربنا كل الديون قبل أن تأتينا الرسل المنون واغفر استر أنت أكرم من ستر وصلاة الله تغشى المصطفى من إلى الحق دعانا والوفاء بكتاب فيه للناس شفاء وعلى الآل الكرام الشرفاء وعلى صحب مصابيه الغرر اللهم اهدنا واهدنا بهداك واجعلنا ممن يسارع في رضاك ولا تولنا وليا سواك ولا تجعلنا ممن خالف أمرك وعصاك وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم الحمد لله رب العالمين. العفو منكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.